She called her children that night to tell them she was safe. She said she was getting a ride home with a friend. Her children waited. She never came home, and the man who drove her away that night has never been identified. Not his name, not his face, not where he went. 55 years later, he's still out there. Or he died taking every answer with him. This is the story of Phyllis O'Brien Carson, a life built far from home. Phyllis was not supposed to end up in California. She was born in Stephenville, Newfoundland, a small coastal town on the western edge of Canada. Her life was ordinary and quiet until an American Air Force pilot named Edward Carson arrived at the base near her town. They fell in love, they married, and when his posting ended, Phyllis packed everything she had and followed him across the continent to a place called French Camp, California. French Camp was tiny, 600 people. Everyone knew everyone. It was the kind of place where strangers were noticed and gossip traveled fast. Phyllis settled in. She built a home. She raised 4 children. She made friends and found her place in a community that was not originally hers. By October of 1970, she was 32 years old. Her life was full. Her children were growing. And her husband, Edward, was away for the week on a boat trip. Her sister had come to visit from out of town, bringing her boyfriend along. It was a good week. Family in the house, laughter, company. On the evening of October 27th, the 3 of them went out together. The last night, they went to a place called Francis Truck Stop, a popular local tavern on the edge of town that drew both locals and long-haul truckers passing through the Central Valley. At some point during the evening, a man joined their group. Nobody knew him. He was friendly. He bought drinks. He stayed close. Around 10:30 at night, Phyllis's sister and her boyfriend decided to head home. They were tired. The night was winding down. Phyllis was not ready to leave. She stayed behind with the stranger. A short while later, she picked up the phone and called home. Her eldest child answered, old enough to be watching the younger ones that night. Phyllis's voice was calm. She told her child not to worry. She said she was getting a ride home with a friend. She hung up. That was the last time anyone who loved her heard her voice. What they found. When Phyllis did not come home, the family reported her missing. Days passed, then a week, then 2. On November 7th, 1970, 11 days after she disappeared, pheasant hunters moving through open land a few miles from the bar stumbled across something in a shallow gully. It was Phyllis. She had been exposed to the elements for nearly 2 weeks. The decomposition was severe. The cause of death could not be confirmed. Whether she had been assaulted could not be determined. What investigators could confirm was this: her wedding ring was still on her finger. Robbery was not the motive. Her husband Edward was ruled out immediately. He had a clear alibi and cooperated with investigators without hesitation. The case came down entirely to one thing: the man at the bar, the man with no name. Despite spending hours in the same bar with this man, Phyllis's sister and her boyfriend could not give a useful description. Other people at the bar that night could not either. What investigators were left with was almost nothing. He walked with a limp. He spoke with a southern drawl. He wore a green uniform, the kind a service station attendant might wear. Before he left with Phyllis, he bought 2 six-packs of beer. They got into his vehicle together and drove north. That was everything. That was all anyone knew. No name, no plate, no face. No one who admitted to knowing him. Investigators noted that Francis Truck Stop was not just a local bar. It was a truck stop. Drivers from across North America passed through regularly. There was also active highway construction nearby, bringing in transient workers from other states, men with no roots in the community, men who could be gone by the weekend without anyone asking why. A stranger could walk in on a Tuesday and disappear by Thursday, and that appears to be exactly what happened. A daughter who never stopped. After Phyllis died, her family went quiet about it. The grief was too heavy, the details too painful. Many of her children were shielded from the full truth. Melissa Carson was 8 years old when her mother was killed. She knew her mother was gone. She did not know she had been murdered. At 18, Melissa walked into the coroner's office and asked to see her mother's file. She sat down. She began to read. She could not finish it. She closed the file and walked out. She came back at 32. This time she read every page. What she found in that file changed her. She started a Facebook page dedicated to her mother's case. She printed newspaper clippings and went door to door through French camp, asking questions that police had stopped asking years before. She wrote letters. She made calls. She lobbied government officials. She refused to let her mother disappear twice. Her persistence reached the highest levels of the state. In 2016, the Office of the Governor of California announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction in Phyllis's murder. It was a significant moment, an acknowledgement that the case still mattered. No one came forward. Officially closed. In 2020, 50 years after Phyllis O'Brien Carson was murdered, the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Department officially closed the case. No viable leads. Most witnesses dead. Nothing left to follow. Phyllis's family pushed back. In 2022, they formally requested that remaining evidence be tested for DNA, the same genetic genealogy technology that had cracked dozens of cold cases across the country, technology that had finally named killers who had walked free for decades. The sheriff's office responded that no suitable evidence remained for testing. 55 years, no suspect, no profile, no name. The man who walked Phyllis out of that bar on the night of October 27, 1970, has never been found. He may still be alive. He may have died years ago, with every answer locked inside him. Either way, Phyllis's children grew up without their mother. Her grandchildren never knew her, and the stranger who bought 2 six-packs of beer and drove north into the California night was never made to answer for any of it. The $50,000 reward still stands. If you know anything about the death of Phyllis O'Brien Carson, contact the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Department. If this case stayed with you, subscribe. New videos every week. Thank you for watching.